Hello. Thank you for joining me today. I hope everybody is having a blessed Sunday. Oh my gosh, is it really August 2nd, 2020? I hope everybody is having a blessed day today. I am blessed. I'm feeling blessed, and I throw all my blessings out there to you. Really quick before we get going, I want you guys to keep two very special people in your prayers tonight. First, a sister in Christ of ours by the name of Betty. And Betty reached out to me and said, Rev, would you do me a big favor? I would like you to light a candle for me. And she gave me some reasons why she wants a candle lit for her. But then she goes on to say, Rev, I know that you light a lot of candles for a lot of people. And I have to ask you for a big favor. Can I get a really big candle? Because I'm anticipating a long, miserable remainder of 2020, and I'm going to need all the help I can get. So, ordinarily, Betty, you would get one of these, but I went and got you this. Okay? So, let me light your candle for you. There you go. That's for Betty. It will sit on my desk here for the remainder of the show. Then I will move it to the room where I put all the candles. And the blessing I'm going to put on it today, because we seem to forget our guardian angels all the time. This is for you, Betty. Angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom his love commits me here, ever this day be at my side, to light and guard, to rule and guide. And that's for Betty. Amen. Don't forget your guardian angels, brothers and sisters. Betty went on to say, Rev, I know you light a lot of candles for a lot of people. Don't forget to blow them out before you leave the house so your house doesn't catch on fire. And that touched me, that she really honestly thought that. So for you, Betty, I just want you to know there's always somebody in the home here, whether it's the spirits, and I do live in a haunted house, and they seem to be very protective over the place. But my wife and I only have one car. We share it. She works the day shift at an animal hospital. I work at night shift at the same animal hospital. So when she gets home from work in the afternoon, she tosses me the keys, and I go to work. So there's always somebody here. But just so you know, when we do go out someplace together, we do make sure we blow out all the candles, and when I get back, I relight them right away. So, but thank you for that. The second person I want you guys to keep in your prayers tonight, a brother in Christ of ours by the name of Stephen. Stephen said, Rev, I'm going to be smudging my home this weekend, and I'm going to wait until your show starts. I'm going to crank the volume on my speakers, and I would like you to say an appropriate scripture for something that I feel is up to no good in my home. Would you be willing to do that? Stephen, of course. God bless you, brother. So this is for Stephen. And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now has come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren has been cast down. He who accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him through the blood of the Lamb and through the word of their witness. Amen. Revelations. Stephen, God bless you, brother. Thank you for the prayer request. All right, guys. Welcome. This is Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host with the ghosts, Reverend Sean, the Rev. And welcome to my haunted home. A very haunted home, so keep an eye on things behind me. You never know. Especially, and it's already moving. Right about there is my dream catcher I received from an actual chief of a tribe where I worked a case on the reservation once. And so that never moves. I have no fans or AC in here. And it's been still all day. And now today it's moving a little bit as the show starts. So they're here with us, and it's all good. All right, guys. Couple of things real quick, and then we're going to get right to why you all have come, my very special guest. But everything you need to know about me is my website, www.ghostbegone.biz, the ministry right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you visit the page, Keep in mind that my wife and I do not charge for our ministry work, working paranormal cases. So if you notice the button and you can do so, send in a small donation. I promise you it will be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and it will be put to good use, I assure you. You'll notice at the website the spiritual advisor page. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I am also a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach, listener. And if you need any advice on spiritual issues that aren't paranormal and you'd like to make an appointment to speak with me, you can do that there. Don't leave the website without looking at the Ireland Tour 2021 page. I'm taking 24 special people to Ireland next year, May of next year, for a whole week. Take a look at the itinerary. The complete itinerary is on that page. It'll leave you with your jaw wide open and your eyes popped out like they do on the cartoon. I am the ambassador. I will be taking you there. So the Mysterious Adventures Tours has tailor-made that tour to reflect me. So we're going to some sacred places, some spiritual places, some holy places, and yes, some haunted places where there will be some investigating going on. So don't forget that. Look at the WSE course/book page. I offer a 12-week online college level course through the WSE called Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. If you have ever felt a calling to the deliverance ministry, no, I'm not going to train you to go out and do exorcisms. This is just a college to have knowledge, how to learn how to draw your line in the sand and make a stand against the things that are out to capture your soul. So all my graduates that take that course receive a stunning diploma suited for framing, along with some other special personal parting gifts that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. So if you're interested in enrolling in that course, you can do that there. On that page is also my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry, a true story inspired by spirit and divine intervention. And I quote, the scariest book I ever published, Annette Munich, owner and publisher of Stellium Books, my publisher. Sometimes, guys, it takes something scary to fight something even scarier. Please help me to continue to fight children's cancer in 2020. Purchase your copy of my book today. Part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and that is a beautiful thing. And all of you that have already purchased my book, God bless you. All right, guys. Carl Albertson, my producer of Paranormal Nation Radio, told me that we're also simulcast on W Entertainment Live, Facebook Live page, Periscope, and I believe Periscope's a Twitter page. It could also be a Facebook Live page, but you can catch us on Paranormal Nation Radio, WO Entertainment, Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry Facebook Live page, and that's probably where you're watching me at right now. So Carl will be manning the chat. You have a comment for my guest or me or the show, that's where you put it. If you have a question, put it there. Carl will get it up on the screen for me as soon as he can, and I will answer it as soon as I can. All right, guys, I could go on and on and on about tonight's guest. I'm so honored to have her here. She's taken an hour out of her busy Monday morning all the way over there in Australia to be with us. She is a real, honest to goodness, Aussie para-legend, author, paranormal experiencer, and paranormal authority. Brothers and sisters, please welcome to the show, Alison Oborn. Alison, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I am doing pretty good. I feel good today. I really feel good. You look beautiful. You sound great. I'm so jealous. I can't wait to finally, one of these days, it's on my list to get to Australia to visit, not just for the paranormal stuff, but for so many reasons. I feel drawn there. I feel drawn to Ireland, yes, and Scotland and England, but I really still feel a draw there. And I promise you, you'll be getting a bang on your door if I show up there. So I'm like that. I intrude. if I get out there, I'll be hunting you down. But thank you very much. You have a lot of fans and followers who have reached out to me this week, excited that you were going to be on the show. And if it didn't, you know, it's Monday there, I know. So if people are working or doing other things, they can't get the live version. They're excited to catch the archive replay, which we post later. But I got a few questions here that are from your fans, so I'll get to those. But let me get the most important one out of the way. Oh my gosh, how crazy is our world right now? I know Australia is being hit with the pandemic hard again. Not as if you guys weren't hit hard the first time, but many places are being hit hard again. How are you and your family in your area doing now with that?
Well, we're good. South Australia doesn't have, we're pretty clear. My daughter, however, is locked down in Melbourne. So I don't think I'll be seeing her probably this year. So
Oh my God.
Melbourne's taken off. Melbourne is they've just declared an emergency now. So they're all in lockdown. But we weren't hit as hard as the rest of the world. We got on top of it very, very quickly. We didn't have the cases that obviously America has, or the death rate. So we're pretty okay, but I don't think we've seen the last of it. I think it will break loose in other states as well. So Melbourne's being hit hard at the moment.
Well, I want to tell you something before I forget, and sometimes I do forget these things. I love you. I respect you. I followed your career. You are a true Aussie paralegend. You've been added to the prayer list, so I pray for you and everybody. Not only the fantastic people I've met there in Australia, but I pray for everybody in Australia, and I pray for everybody here too. But oh my gosh, it's just, um, you know, you know me. I could be a crazy man, but I do believe this is evil moving amongst us in like a cancer. Somewhere we've had a major breach in the protective spiritual wall of protection somewhere that's around us. Somewhere there's been a bad breach, and we're working on getting that fixed on a spiritual level. So hopefully we're able to get that done. Having said that, uh, some people asked me earlier this week if are all the exorcists that I talk to a lot in the international exorcist community. Yeah, there is one of those. We're still asking for everybody to say just an Our Father, a Hail Mary, and a prayer to Saint Michael, short version in English, every night or every morning, at least once a day. And I'm not trying to convert anybody over to Catholicism or Christianity, but you can imagine you're praying to the Great Father or the Great Mother. So everybody loves Saint Michael. I'm going to throw in one more, and I said it for Betty earlier in the show. Throw in one for your personal guardian angel. You have one or possibly more. Everybody has probably known a time or two in their life where they might not have come out of that particular situation had it not been for a guardian angel or some type of divine intervention. So don't forget your guardian angels. Pray to them too. Having said that, there's no wrong answer here. Are you a religious person, and do you believe in guardian angels and
Um,
angelic beings that protect us? And
Not in the, I guess, not in that Christian faith way. If you dig deeper on me, I do have that spiritual belief in that there is something greater. But I can go and sit on my hill and be one with what's out there. And that's kind of my church, if you like.
Absolutely.
But I don't follow that Christianity, I'm going to admit.
It's
But I
okay.
do have my own personal kind of beliefs and feelings, if you like. So
Well, the
yeah.
word out on you is that you're a beautiful soul, you're a good person, and that's all. Whatever this is, and maybe I'm praying to the wrong God. I mean, I've had enough divine intervention in my life, trust me, to where I'm good with who I believe that I'm praying to. Faith is important to me, but I also experience a lot of evil. So I have to believe. What works for me is just believing that my God is just this higher, much, much higher vibrational being of light and love, the creator that watches over all of us. and we need his help to battle this evil that is constantly trying to devour our souls. But I have many friends that are of indigenous tribe people, and I ask them all the time, do we pray to the same God? And they don't know. They go, we just pray to the Great Father and the Great Mother, and many of them are very pagan light. I have a lot of friends who are pagans. I don't judge, but just so you know, you're on the prayer list, and you and I will probably have this conversation again one day, wherever we end up, and we'll have a good laugh over it and go, did who would have thought when we finally do know all the answers? I think it's gonna be amazing. But well, let me get to some of your. Oh, this is a good one, and this is from your fans now.
Oh.
You have to ask nowadays. You just never know. It's like that's why I asked if you're religious. You just never know. Are you a believer or a skeptic? And I'm assuming that means ghosts.
I am a skeptic believer. So I have two sides that constantly hit like this, which keeps me balanced, I think. And I will try first to find out what it is naturally. We'll try and recreate stuff that's happened. But at the end of the day, I've had too much happen to say that ghosts don't exist. So I've had a lot of experiences that say science hasn't explained everything yet. It's out there. So we spend a lot of man hours in these places. So, yeah.
I talk to many people like you, and there are some that think differently on this, but many feel that our passion for this is searching the unknown. We don't know all the answers, and what's your take on that? Do you think? I mean, what we do has always been, and it may always be considered a pseudoscience. No one's ever really actually, I believe that there's life after death. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think we will always be doing what we're doing now and not really knowing, or do you think proof's coming? Like we may one day get proof that extraterrestrial life exists and that they're here visiting, and UFOs or Bigfoot is going to finally walk down the Las Vegas Strip here. What's your take on that?
I'd like to think that we will one day get proof, but maybe with UFOs, Bigfoot, that's different. They're more physical things. Ghosts and the paranormal, in that respect, I don't know if we ever will. I don't know if we're supposed to know. It seems like you'll get something, but then it'll change it. You'll get a theory or a pattern, and then it'll change it like that. The stuff that happens is always when you've got your cameras turned off, or it's like it'll give us enough to tease us and keep us interested and keep us looking, but it's not giving us enough that we can definitively prove that ghosts exist. And maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe that's for us to find out when we pass over. I don't know. So I'd like to think we could. I've given up trying to prove it now.
Yeah, me too. I throw it out there. I know there's lots of people out there that think I'm a crazy man, and I might be, but I'm 60 now. Who knows how much longer I'm going to be around? I've decided, for 20 some odd years growing up, I started seeing spirit when I was young, and for 20 plus years, I kept that a secret. The only person that knew was, I suspect my whole family did, but the only one that I personally confided in about it was my mother. Got great support from her, may she rest in peace, about that. But yeah, I'm just, if I experience something, I'm going to throw it out there. If someone's able to debunk it, God bless them. If not, and they still think it's my imagination, or that's okay too. Like I said, I don't judge, but I'm not going to hide it any longer. I experience something, I see something, I'm going to share it with people, because I don't know, who knows, something I experience or I feel might be that next thing that helps somebody who's a lot smarter than me get one step closer to being able to prove it or disprove it. I don't know. So having said that, I'm thinking of something I read about you, me seeing spirit when I was little. Were you the one that in your bio has you were born in a haunted home?
Yes, that's
Oh my
where
God.
my journey
Well,
started.
okay. I had a feeling it was you, and I knew I had to ask you about that because
Yeah.
what you and I have in common was you're born in a haunted home. I was born haunted.
Okay.
So you've got to tell me and my viewers that story and how
Oh,
you coped with it. I don't care if it takes the rest of the show. That's I need to know how you coped with that. And look at you, you turned out okay. And a lot of people respect you and look up to you, and you're doing wonderful things in the paranormal community over there. So please share that story with us.
well, I was born into a haunted house. It was in England because I actually originate from the UK. It's a place called Newcastle upon Tyne is where I was born. And it was just a boring house. It was just your traditional terrace home that you would walk past and not even think anything of. And we were getting some very strange things to the point where my earliest childhood memory would have been sitting in my bedroom when I was probably about 2.5. And I remember crying because there was heavy male breathing, like somebody struggling to breathe in the room with me. And there was nobody in the room with me. Another earliest memory was me going into my brother's bedroom because he used to have the cool toys. So, because I was a bit tomboy. And he used to have, I don't know if you remember Doctor Who, but he used to have the wind up Daleks in those
Yeah,
days. I loved playing with them. So I'd sneak into his room when he wasn't home. And I remember being in that room and all the wind up toys actually moving across the room. And nobody else was in there. Nobody touched them. I hadn't touched them at that point.
that's scary.
Yeah, my sisters got it worse because I suppose they were older and remember more because they used to see disembodied eyes in the corner of the room, just the eyes, and the eyes would travel across the room, but mostly
That's
in the corner of the room.
scary.
My parents always played it down that what we were seeing was always, shadows from outside from the street lights, and we knew otherwise. I was so terrified of that house that when we moved just to the back of it down another road. And my best friend was only 2 doors down from this house. I used to walk the long way around to avoid having to walk past this house, even in daylight. So somewhere I don't remember it all. I don't know what particularly happened apart from those two memories, but I was terrified of that house. Couldn't even walk past it in my 20s. Uh,
Really?
I had such a phobia. I was sleeping with my lights on when my husband first met me. When I was I was 26, I think, when I met him, and I was still sleeping with lights on because the house terrified me that much. But it was always a moth to the flame. It was, well, what was it I experienced? And I went into research not just to prove it was a ghost, but to look for natural explanation for it as well. So I haven't come up with a natural explanation. My mother was the only one who saw him as a figure. She woke up to find him at the side of the bed. She said, interestingly, she said he had protruding eyes. So she was talking to the neighbour, and the neighbour said, hang on a minute. She went to get a photo of the person who used to own the house. She came back with that photo, and the guy, he had protruding eyes. He had a thyroid problem that makes the eyes protrude. So
Wow.
now he had come out of a pub one night, one New Year's Eve, and nobody knows whether he was attacked or whether he was drunk and fell over a wall. But he was found with head injuries, and he never came out of the hospital. And his wife sold the house to us because she couldn't stay there anymore because she said she could feel arms like around her, hugging her, and she
Yeah.
just couldn't. She just couldn't cope with that. So we bought the house. My parents bought the house. They went on honeymoon. My grandparents decided they would surprise them and redecorate the house. And every time they came back in, the paint pots would be all over the place, lids would be off. Yeah. So you wouldn't even think it was a haunted house walking past it. Boring looking terrace house. So you never know. They're not all old spooky places.
Absolutely not, and I can attest to that because I work cases here sometimes in brand new homes that just were recently built. So it's usually many things could cause that, but that is an incredible story. Have you? I know you have a book out. Is
Yeah.
that story in that book, or did you write a book
No.
about that story?
No, I keep saying I've got to get onto another book, but running a business now takes up all my time. No, that one is purely goes to the past. It's purely about our 10 years of research at the old Adelaide jail here.
Wow.
Kind of all those anecdotes and stories and what we had happen. And that's what that book's about. It's like an encompassing of about 10, 12 years of work there. So,
Well, I have to tell you, all that you've been through, the eyeball thing freaked me out.
Yeah.
Because I have never actually with my own eyes seen floating eyeballs, but I've captured in many photos, like, you know, when your headlights hit an animal out in, you know, like if you're making a turn and there's an animal in the bushes, but the your flashlight or your headlights just momentarily hit it and you see the glowing eyes. And I've captured like red glowing eyes on cases that were of more malevolent nature. But to actually visually see floating eyeballs, and you hear about heads all the time, especially in England, that is freaky. And that would, I have to tell you, I don't know.
It caused a lot of fear.
Yeah,
I think the eyes were just an important part of it. I don't think it was just floating up, you know, because he did have that thyroid. It was very much
absolutely. Yeah,
his
that is.
personality, I guess. And the big thing was the eyes. So, and we didn't know that till afterwards. So there you go.
Promise me something. I know I can feel that you're so close to flipping that and saying, I believe. When that day comes, call me up and tell me. Okay, because
Look,
that'll be
I
another
do
show.
things about.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is that you have to tell that story because how long did you live in that home?
I was only in it for 4 or 5 years, and then we moved just down the road. But my sisters, as I said, suffered it a lot more. One sister can't have, you know, the old type wardrobes that you just open and shut. She can't have those in her house because it used to play with them. It used to just open and close the wardrobe door. So she now has to have modern ones, modern built-in robes, because she's got phobia against old wardrobes. Um, yeah, it does have a lasting effect on you. I'm not scared of it now. The more I've gone into these places, the more I've gone into the research. The fear has turned into, I guess, passion and excitement rather than that terror. And
Well, when did that happen? Because you went, you were still sleeping with the lights on,
I
and
was,
I know what that's like too. I mean, I still do.
yeah,
Um, how did you go from that experience that, for lack of a better term, emotionally scarred you quite a bit
yeah,
to jumping into the deep end of
yeah.
paranormal investigating and going balls out, excuse my French, on that and being so successful at that with the teams that you've had, the team that you have, your tour company and all that. How did you make that transition?
Yeah, I am. I guess I wanted those answers, and that was a driving force. And the more, I suppose it's a bit like a phobia with snakes or spiders. The more you're around them, the more the phobia comes down. And I probably would liken it to that. So the more I went into these places, these haunted locations, and spent hours and hours and hours and in them, years in them, the more that fear came down, the more I realized it wasn't going to be like Hollywood. We weren't
Yeah.
always going to go in there and your head's going to revolve and you're going to vomit green vomit. It was more, a lot of the stuff we were coming across for us personally. Yeah, we would come across angry stuff. But a lot of it was just when we're going into homes, normal, people who had passed away and just had an attachment to the home. And you start to understand that. And I guess that made me understand the house I was born into as well. He wasn't a bad person, the person who was there, the haunting. His life was taken away from him for whatever reason. He was there with his wife left, we moved in, and I'm sure that's a bit confusing. Who are these people? Why are they in my home? And I don't know if he did mean to scare us, to be quite honest. I think it's just that we didn't understand the phenomenon, what it was. And I guess
Absolutely.
we're all scared of what we don't understand. So there's that deep down fear. So I guess the more I went in these places, the more I realised it wasn't always going to be, awful. And now I just get excited. So if something happens.
Well, on the topic of spinning heads and green vomit everywhere and levitation and all that sort of stuff, who handles that for you guys? Do you guys handle that? Do you have someone on the team that specializes in that, or do you refer those types of cases out, or have you ever gone into a case expecting it to be one thing and then boom, you found yourself, you know, dealing with a lot more than you bargained for, and in being in a scary situation?
A long time ago, we stopped investigating homes. So, and we started investigating historical sites instead. And the reason we did that is because we did used to have a psychologist on our team. But I'm going to say there is a lot of mental health issues out there. We're not trained for either what you do or for what mental health issues are out there. And we felt as a team, if we're not trained in any of this, we shouldn't be going into people's homes and making it worse, possibly, either winding whatever it's up there, because you're dealing with people. You're dealing with people's lives. You're dealing with kids and stuff like that. Whereas historical sites, you don't have that emotional risk of damaging somebody's life even more.
Yeah.
So that's why if you're not trained in it, then probably don't dabble in it, if that makes sense. So we would
totally.
we would kind of put them onto teams who maybe had more experience in that, had psychics, mediums, people that they had some sort of way of dealing with it a bit better. So it's knowing your limitations. It's me, I'm out there to get answers, not to ruin people's lives or go in there. If I got something, what am I going to tell them? Oh yeah, you've got something in your home. And then they're going to not sleep even more and they're going to get more afraid. Why compound that? We did get called out on a supposed possession. Now, she was serving us tea 1 minute and then she went into total Tourette's wanting to kill us the next. And we did have a psychologist on our team then, and she recognized the symptoms of mental health and she just said, back off. So we did back off. And even if it had been a possession, because they were religious, it's like, well, we're not experienced in that. We're not capable of doing that. That's not what we're about. And I am not going to go and pretend that I can deal with this when I can't. So, as I said, no, anybody who's investigating out there, know your limitations. Don't pretend you know something that you don't. So if you don't have the experience in it and you don't have that training in it, then back off and find somebody who can. So
that is totally, God bless you for that, feeling that way. And it's so refreshing to hear someone that does what you do look at it that way, because that is very important. I still many times refer cases out. I usually tape um, interviews, and sometimes the same psychologist and psychiatrist that I talk to every couple 3 months to make sure I'm not going crazy. I let them listen to some of those interviews sometimes. And the sad thing is there's been times where we already know the client's under the care of a physician and being legally diagnosed with psychological disorder, but we also at the same time suspect, because of certain things, that they have some type of bad malevolent attachment to them, because the mental state that they are in made them open and weak and vulnerable to that type of attack. But there's nothing you can do. You have to legally take a giant step back and allow the doctors still to do their thing. And it can be heartbreaking to sit on the sidelines and watch. You're the starting quarterback, and now you've gotten yanked out of the game, and you're going to watch your the backup go in and be the one that solves all the problems. It's not totally like that, but in a little bit of way, it's like that. But you got to let the doctor's already looking at you like you're crazy. Why are you here talking to my client? But my patient, and then they don't want to hear your take on it, but that is the take. And I talk to lots of people who work in psych wards that have enough psychology background and training, along with being a nurse, let's say, who have reached out to me and said, there's a lot of people in here that are crazy, but that I do feel are suffering a bad attachment, either by, malevolent human spirit or something darker, God forbid, even demonic. It's sad, and your hands are tied if they're legally diagnosed.
Yeah.
Then there's really not much you can do. Um, Having said that, because I have so many new up and coming ghost hunters of the next generation coming to me who have just decided I'm going to buy a tape recorder, I'm going to buy a camera, I'm going to buy a ghost box, I'm going to get a Ouija board, and I'm going to get a couple of friends and we're going to go ghost hunting. I have a lot of these now coming to me because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. They had no training. They said and did the wrong thing. They find themselves with an attachment, and now they're calling someone like me for help. In Alison Oborn's world, give me a big don't for all of these new up and coming um, paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, ghostbusters. A big don't.
I always say, don't go. A lot of people get excited. They see these ghost hunting shows on TV and it's all very glamorous and everything else. And yeah, we see them popping up all the time. I always say, do your time first. I was in lots of different teams before I set up my own team. So I did a lot of research beforehand, getting a lot of information. We used to read back then. um, and we didn't have the internet for all the garbage out there that is kind of floating around. And it's just like, if you're going to do this, do it with people first who know what they're doing and learn how it all works. Well, we don't know how it all works, but your equipment, how to go into these places safely. There are obviously safety issues as well. And it's like, don't just go and zoom on in there with your little K2 and it all looks glamorous. Everybody wants to do it. And, this is why I set up Haunted Horizons as well, as in it's not just tacky tours, but we do investigations. And the reason we do that is to allow these people to come into an environment that is monitored, supervised. They learn how to use all this equipment properly and the do's and don'ts and stuff like this. So although it looks like entertainment that they're coming in, they're not. They are being kind of coached through, and we've had 2 teams set up through the tours that now are doing very well. But even if you can find investigation tours that know what they're doing, then that's a good place to start if you can't get on a team. But do a lot of work, do a lot of background work, educate yourself on it all. Read. I have bookcases full of books.
Absolutely.
Going back 30, 40 years. Massive collection of books, reading everybody's forgotten about. And some of the old people who used to research, the foundation people, they're worth reading and going back to the foundation of it all. So, yeah.
I used to say a silly thing to some people. I say, sit in your room from about, go into a bedroom in your home. Oh, you want to be a ghost hunter? Okay. Go into your bedroom one night, shut the door, turn off the light, tell nobody to bother you for 6 hours, and just sit in there for about 6 hours, see what happens. Because so many first timers that I would take out back when I did a lot of ghost hunting, and right in the middle of the investigation, all of a sudden, at first you're like, was that a growl? It's malevolent. Is that a ghost snoring? You turn your flashlight and there's Hank in the corner. Oh, it's that simple. Can you stay up in a dark room for 6 hours with nothing happening? But your camera just filmed me nothing, and your tape recorder recording nothing but you hopefully not snoring and or burping or farting, and just, can you do that? If you can do that, you have a shot.
And then you've got to watch, and then you've got to watch back and listen to that 6 hours of nothing.
Oh my gosh! If you're the only one in there, yeah, you fall asleep. You're like, oh my god! Hopefully you're the only one analyzing the evidence, and you can just erase that, or you can't even erase it or fast forward because you don't know during that time if your camera or your recorder caught something. But that's happened to me. I'll raise my hand. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. Oh my gosh.
I've been caught with my eyes shut occasionally.
Okay, give us a big Alison Oborn do. Or did we already do that? We just did a don't, right? We did a don't.
That was a kind of a don't and a do.
Give us a really big do. Like you make sure that that's the one thing you do. You do when you go out on an investigation or work a case, whether it be residential or commercial. You make sure you always do that.
Never do it alone. For one, for me, we've always faced this. Although I'm on my own, the type of thing. I've always said take somebody with you. You've got you're working in dark environments. If you have an accident, who's going to pick the pieces up if you fall, break your ankle? Yeah. 2, if you're in somebody's home and they accuse you of something, then you've got witnesses and you've got somebody else there because you don't know what you did. You don't know these people if you're going into people's homes. You really don't. 3, I forgot what the third one was now.
I have a form that I have people fill out. I've learned my lesson the hard way on that too, about breaking something or something come up missing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We
record at all times. And the reason I say that, if ever my investigators, even on tours, if my investigator is alone with one person and there's no others there, it's like, well, keep recording because, in this day and age, you don't know, what will happen down the track, what you can be accused of. Just make sure you've got that running, not just for the ghosts type
Absolutely.
of thing. It's a lot of safety. A lot of the do's that I give are safety. If you want to, I guess, protect yourself, white light, stuff like that. I'm going to say I personally don't, but that's just I stopped doing it years and years ago just to, as a researcher, to see what happens if I don't. And for me personally, it made no difference, but I understand that others need to. And we encourage, if you want to, definitely do it. So yeah, there's a lot of safety stuff that would be my main driving force to teach them, is not just to do with the ghosts, but to do with everyday stuff that you're going to be dealing with. So and learn your equipment. I see people going out there with this equipment and it's like, oh my god, it's a ghost, because it's flashing off, and it's like, have you got your phones on? Yeah. Or you're live streaming, guys. Your live stream is going to affect your EMF equipment and stuff like that. So it's teaching them to think, I guess, and not just jump to the excitement of it all. That will upset homeowners. You're making things worse for them. It's like, understand what you're doing and understand what you're possibly dealing with and learn about it before you go running out there. So they would be some of my do's.
I know I'm going to get hate mail for this, and I don't mean any disrespect at all. I'm not going to say his name because I didn't get permission to, but I had a friend way, way back in the day, worked behind the scenes on the original Ghost Hunters show, teaching them how to properly ghost hunt. Those guys weren't just experts when they started doing that show. So they had a consultant there that would show them how. And on the safety thing, after sending them through all of these different things, something as simple as one of the main stars showed up on camera to do a show once in flip-flops. And they had to stop filming and send him back to get some ordinary shoes on. And I see a lot of women do that. I see a lot of these teams investigating, and there's 1 or 2 girls. Okay, if it's in the middle of the summer and you're in an abandoned location and it's like 125 degrees in there, I still think Daisy Duke cut off jean shorts and a wife beater shirt without a bra, t-shirt without a bra, and flip-flops is inappropriate. For the girl to dress like that to go on a ghost hunt. So just something about like attire can be a safety
Yeah,
issue.
definitely.
Um, I don't plan on doing this every show, but it seems like we're segueing perfectly into it. I'm going to occasionally do this thing on my show called Rev Rants. I'm not a big ranter. Like I said, I don't judge. And if I did rant about something, nobody would care anyway. But I want to give my guests a chance because there's so much drama in the paranormal
Mm.
community, international. I'm going to throw it out there. And I get people ranting to me all week long. I'm like, you know what? With as many people that reach out to me ranting about this or that, I'm going to give my guests a chance. If there's something they would like to rant about that really bothers them that they wish would change in our field, I'm going to give them the opportunity to do so. And if they don't have anything they want to rant about, that's fine too. But does Alison Oborn have something she would like to add to the Rev Rants?
No, really, sorry. The drama would probably be my rant. We don't need it. We really don't. In any field, doesn't matter whether you're growing geraniums or dog breeding, you're going to have clashes of characters, difference of opinions, and you don't have to fight that. I know a lot of our Patreon subscribers. I'm looking at all the names. They're all on here. I'm wambling. Rosemary, thank you. But I'm very proud of this page because we've got about 200-300 subscribers on there. And not once have I had to wade in and stop an argument. They all have different beliefs. They all have different views. And that page I'm so proud of because it shows you can get on. You
Yeah.
can actually accept other people's different views. If we all thought the same, this world would be a boring place, and we'd all be ants and bees and no character. Why the drama? Drop the egos would be my rant. I just get on and do what I do. I love doing it. I don't care what anybody else is doing. I don't want to know about the drama. And it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. You're always going to have clashes. Just turn it off. Don't go to
I'm
their pages. Don't look at
I'm
their
gonna
comments.
I'm gonna the recording of this show and your little speech right there. I'm going to have some of my Democrat friends listen to that.
Yeah.
That's my quick political in, political out.
Yeah, look, it's just we can get on.
We
And we
can.
will all get on. You'll never have. I'm sick of hearing about paranormal unity because you're never going to get that. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with people of all sorts. You will never get the unity of everybody getting on. So the best you can do is just go, okay, well, they're different. They think differently. So I don't agree with that. So let's turn it off. Let's never go to that page, and then it won't bother me.
Isn't
So
it funny how it came full circle? I remember, what am I going back 15 years, possibly around that time? At a time when even my wife and I were kind of keeping our ghost hunting on the down low because we knew a lot of people we knew probably would think we were weird. We didn't associate with a lot of other people in the paranormal field, and we did a lot of that on our own together as a team. And then like Ghost Hunters, the original Ghost Hunters come out, and that sort of made you feel like it's cool what we do.
yeah,
And the show was such a hit, so now they kind of made it cool. And then you had Ghost Adventures come out, and we're talking original, the first few original years, not
yeah.
now anymore. But then that was like a little, just about the time Ghost Hunters was getting a little long in the tooth. Adventures was a little breath of fresh air, and they also made you feel like, okay, what I do is pretty cool. Um, but now, all these years later,
Mm,
it's like the shows are terrible, and now I got people coming up to me all the time. I hear you do this or do that, and I
mm,
watch those shows. Do you do that kind of stuff? That stuff's so
yeah.
stupid and fake and yada yada yada. And it's like those shows don't even appeal to anybody in the paranormal community anymore.
Mm,
Once they did, and now they don't.
yeah.
And look how it's come full circle again. And if we go work a case, the people are like, can you do me a big favor? Don't show up in 2 or 3 big black vans with 20 investigators and thousands of dollars of equipment and throw the electronic gauntlet down on my home. And that's not us anyhow. It's just my wife and I. We take the magnets off the side of the car and we just cruise in there. And we could just be, an aunt and uncle visiting or something. We don't, put it out there for all the neighbors to know.
Yeah.
And it's come back to that again, and that's a shame. Do you have any? It's big there, and a lot of people don't realize how big it is in Australia. Do you have any really cool shows out there that we don't know about out here that maybe we should be looking for?
No, we've never really. We get your shows, so most of our shows are yours that we get, but Australia never really embraced. We had one show for about 6 episodes, but it didn't do great, and they didn't do it very well. But it's no other TV has really picked up on doing any ghost shows out here, so they just have yours come over and we watch all of the American ones or the English ones, like Most Haunted. So yeah.
Well, I don't want to run out of time before making sure people know. Okay, we got a little over 5 minutes. I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you. Oh my gosh, you have everything. You have a Patreon channel. You have a YouTube channel.
The three main ones would be our main Facebook page, the Patreon subscriber page, and the YouTube channel. They would be
now. What are the titles for both of those?
For Patreon, it would be patreon.com//Haunted Horizons. So that's where you get a whole load of new content. That's where that page that I'm so proud of, where everybody gets on. Adelaide Haunted Horizons Ghost Tours is our Facebook page. So that's obviously all the free stuff we do. And then there's a YouTube channel where we've kind of put up little videos. We've also got Ghostcast, which is a podcast, a bit like this, where we interview people and discuss.
Oh, I have people asking about, you and I briefly touched base on this before the show started.
Yeah.
I have people that are reaching out to me. Ask her when she's coming back on either the show or the podcast or the radio show again.
Yeah. Twilight Hour, which I think is what they're asking about, which was on our big commercial radio station here in Adelaide. That possibly isn't coming back. And the reason for that is one of our team, which is Liz McGaskill, she's now not there to do the show. So she's still producing there, but she's not doing the show anymore. So without that third cog, it's kind of going to be difficult. She was our medium psychic. But instead of that, we do have what we call Ghostcast. So that's like this live stream that we do. We do it pretty much every fortnight. We have guests and we discuss.
Where can people catch that?
That's on YouTube or on our Facebook page. The main Facebook page, we go live on the Facebook page and on YouTube at the same time.
So they can watch on
either mediums. They're all past episodes are up there, so they can go and have a look at those.
And so many people have said if you are really into the paranormal, I mean truly, not just a novice, you just want to go on a little ghost tour. If you not only want to go on a tour, but I mean you're legit. You're definitely more of the advanced stage ghost hunter, paranormal investigator. Adelaide Haunted Horizon Ghost Tours.
Yeah.
Such wonderful things I hear about that, and how that's still going strong. And has the pandemic affected that? Are you still able to do events? Because so many have been canceled.
Yeah, it shut us down for 2 months. But then, because we're pretty clear of it in South Australia, the government has allowed people to come back to do this stuff. But there is a lot of restrictions. We can only have half the numbers. We've got to have 1.5 meters between the people, gel up and stuff like that. So there's a lot of safety in place. But in this state, we are clear of COVID, so we don't have it here. Obviously, that could change tomorrow. If things break out again, then tours will be shut down again. So what we try and do, what happened was when we got shut down, we did live streaming like this. So we would go out to keep people entertained. I would go to one of our venues because we weren't allowed to kind of mix, and set up a live stream investigation where you lot joined in. So I just set everything up. You commented, you asked me what you wanted me to do. And that was very popular. So we're trying to keep that going. So we're trying to keep this free live stream investigation going. We did one from the Gungellan the other day. I believe your producer said that he was a fan of McLeod's daughters.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
While we were investigating, did a live stream on the Haunted Horizons Facebook page from the Gungellan Hotel last week or the week before. So yeah,
that's so cool.
So yeah, it's just a passion to bring this to people, and that's what the pages are about, to be able to do that. So,
well, I'm going to say something to you, and, and I mean this with all due respect. I totally mean this with all due respect. It goes to is brilliant. Oh, you've got Rosemary Coates wants to talk about how wonderful the tours are. Thank you, Rosemary, for that. I mean this with all due respect. Every time I reach out to somebody in Australia, I'm like, one of these times, and I think these two guys would have been great ghost hunters, Crocodile Dundee or Steve Irwin. And every time I reach out to somebody, I always think one of these days I'm going to get somebody like a Crocodile Dundee or a Steve Irwin, and I don't know how I'm going to react, because those guys were so over the top, but the two of them would have made great ghost hunters.
They would have been
to you, living there, a native Australian, well, you're from England, but you live there, you're native. How do you guys perceive people like that? Is it just good fun, or
it's good fun? Steve Irwin was for real. He was very, very enthusiastic. He was such a lovely guy, very passionate, and that was his personality. He was very, very out there. It's just who he was. Crocodile Dundee obviously was a fictional character, and not so real. It was like taking all the real Ocker Aussie stuff and encompassing.
They could have easily switched that to Ghost Guy Dundee, and he could have done movies later on and been the ghost guy, easily.
Actually, I think Steve Irwin's son is now taking over that role. He's very passionate. I think he's on your TV shows a lot. Yeah. He's very passionate and got that same, not quite so animated, but he's getting there. And it's just, that's who they are. That's who they are. Just wonderful people who are passionate.
Where can people get your book, Ghosts of the Past?
Look, we've got it on our website. I really should work out how to get it on Amazon. I wrote it and never put it anywhere. Basically from me, on our website, AdelaideHauntedHorizons.com.au. It's up there. We can post it out. So
promise me something. Between now and the next time we talk, I'm gonna send you some more data. I just scratched the surface. I got about 25 questions here and did about 4 of them. I'm going to want you back. Your listeners are going to want you back. I think I'm booked till possibly end of November. Right after Halloween time or something. Yeah. We should just have just an hour or maybe even longer discussion of some of the more violent haunts that I read about all the time from Australia. You guys are known for the violent haunts. So we'll get into a good discussion about that. Promise me you'll really think hard about working on another book, because that story of your childhood includes stories from, you can get together with your sisters, get stories from them. That sounds like a wonderful story. And I'm going to be thinking about floating eyeballs all night tonight. That's just creepy. And I've seen some creepy stuff. Eyeballs. Yeah. So thank you for that. I'll be thinking about floating eyeballs all night tonight. What are we doing here? Yep, top of the hour. Oh my gosh, my least favorite time of the show has come. But I just want you to know, don't forget, I love you. I respect you. I will reach out to you to have you back. You look wonderful tonight. You're such a happy person, a good soul. You're a real breath of fresh air for the paranormal community. Don't change. And have a wonderful remainder to your Monday. There in Australia. Give my best to all of the ghosties. Tell them I'm coming, and God bless you, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Alison, I'll see you later. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night,
brothers and sisters. Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be. So many cool people, and you've met them all if you've watched the show here. And I've got a 1-year anniversary of the Paranormal Ministry coming up on Halloween. So that's going to be we might do a special Halloween night episode of the Paranormal Ministry to celebrate not only Halloween, but the 1 year anniversary of this show. But you've met all of the people that I've brought on this show from Australia. Great place, great people. Can't wait to get out there and visit. Who's my guest next week? Oh, this girl rocks. American Witch Melissa St. Hilaire. She's going to be great. You can catch me tomorrow night with author Reverend Peter Panagore, near-death experience survivor, on Vegas Supernatural with me tomorrow night. And catch me back here for another new episode of The Ministry next Sunday. Thank you, Carl, for all your hard work behind the scenes making the show go. I love you all. You're all on the prayer list. I know I don't have a show without you. So thank you for all tuning in. I'll see you all next week. On that note, good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. Good night, everybody. See you all next week.